under the earlier law, basically this center both and as well as the states had powers to levy various taxes under the Indian Constitution. Now, if you remember again for Article 246, Article 246 add a Schedule 7. Under the Schedule 7, the power to levy and collect the taxes has been distributed between a center and the states, isn't it? Now, center add certain powers to levy the taxes and collect the taxes, and also the state also add certain powers on the matters which was listed in the Schedule 7. There is the list 1, list 2 and list 3. In those three lists, there were certain matters. On those matters, who can enact the laws? Only the respective authority. For example, list 1 was a central list or a union list. What are the matters which was listed in the list 1? On those matters, only the central government can enact a legislation. Whereas in the list 2 is a state list. On that list, whatever the matter listed in that list, the law can be made only by the state government. The third list was there, concurrent list. In the concurrent list, the power has been given to the both center as well as state, isn't it? Now, briefly, we have already seen what is the power given to the state as well as the center with respect to the taxes, tax laws. Now, under the earlier laws, center used to levy the following taxes. Central tax and I have briefly classified it as a central tax. What are the taxes which was levied by the center under the earlier laws prior to GST? There was a central excise duty on the manufacture. There is a service tax on the provision of service. On the additional duties of customs, that is called a CVD. CVD. There is nothing but there is a two component there. Basic custom duty also that is still there. Basic custom duty is still there. What do you mean by basic custom duty? You need to understand what is a custom duty. Custom duty is usually levied on the goods. Is usually levied on the goods which are imported from other states, another country. Getting a point? Now, when the custom duty will be levied, it will be levied only when there is a import. Import whenever the goods is originating from another country. ಬೇರೆ ಕಂಟ್ರಿನ goods ನ purchase ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇರಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ only on the goods there is a levy of basic custom duty. Getting a point? Basic custom duty is not subsumed. What is subsumed? What do you mean by subsumed? ಇದೆಲ್ಲ taxes ಇದ್ದು ಮುಂಚೆ. All these taxes were in existence earlier, but after introduction of GST, these taxes are not in existence. ಇದೆಲ್ಲದೂ ಕೂಡ GST ಒಳಗಡೆ subsume ಆಗಿದೆ. Getting the point? Getting merged under the GST. What are the taxes? First one is central excise duty. Next, service tax also got merged in the GST. Next, additional duties of customs. See, when you import any particular goods na import ಮಾಡಿದಾಗ, same mobile phone, you take a mobile phone. iPhone usually imported from a foreign country. Assume iPhone, or why you take iPhone, you take an example of Redmi or Vivo or whatever mobile phone. Same mobile phones, India manufacture ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ, earlier prior to GST, on the manufacturer, you are liable to pay excise duty. Excise duty pay ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾಗಿತ್ತು ಇಲ್ವಾ? Isn't it? Now, ಅದನ್ನ import ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ ನಾನು. I am not manufacturing in India. ಇಂಡಿಯಾದಲ್ಲಿ ನಾನು manufacture ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ. What I am doing? This mobile phone is already manufactured either in China manufactured ಆಗಿದೆ ಅಲ್ಲ US ಅಲ್ಲಿ manufacture ಆಗಿದೆ. Already ಅಲ್ಲಿ manufacture ಆಗಿ ಹೋಗಿದೆ. ನಾನೇನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೇನೆ? I am just purchasing it from another country and selling it in India. Isn't it? That means, can I levy excise duty now? Because there is no manufacturing activity in India, I cannot levy excise duty. There was a loss of excise duty revenue to the government earlier whenever there is a import of a good. To offset that loss, to recover that loss, there was a levy called additional duties of customs, CVD, countervailing duty ಅಂತನೂ ಕೂಡ ಕರೀತಾ ಇದ್ರು. This additional duties of customs was levied in order to offset the loss of excise duty whenever there is a import of a good. At what rate? Again, those rates and all was notified. We are not going to discuss those rates. Next, on the manufacture of medicinal and toilet preparations, there was a excise duty was levied. Again, in order to offset the loss of VAT or a CST. See, whenever you import a good, not only there is a loss of excise duty, there was a loss of VAT also, isn't it? For example, same mobile phone ಇಂಡಿಯಾದಲ್ಲೇ ಮ್ಯಾನುಫ್ಯಾಕ್ಚರ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಮ್ಯಾನುಫ್ಯಾಕ್ಚರಿಂಗ್ ಆಕ್ಟಿವಿಟಿ ಮೇಲೆ ಎಕ್ಸೈಸ್ ಡ್ಯೂಟಿ ಲೆವಿ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ರು. Immediately whenever the manufacturer selling that mobile phone to a distributor ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ there was a component of a sales tax. Either it may be a VAT or it may be a CST, isn't it? Now both these taxes cannot be collected now because entire manufacturing activity has taken place outside India. ನೀವು import ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀರಿ ಈಗ goods na. In such a case, there is a loss of both excise duty as well as sales tax to the Indian government. Indian central government ಗೆ excise duty loss ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇತ್ತು, state government ಗೆ VAT sales tax loss ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇತ್ತು whenever there is an import. To offset those two losses, first one CVD was imposed, second one SAD, that is special additional duty of customs was imposed earlier. Okay, then over and above that there was a surcharges and cess. I hope you understand what you mean by surcharges and cess. Surcharge is nothing but a tax on tax. Surcharges. Cess is nothing but a particular purpose. The cess was used to be calculated. Again, that is also calculated on the taxes. Surcharge and cess. Surcharge was applicable only on few goods whenever there is an import, and cess basically health and education cess. What we were seeing, what we saw in income tax, 4%. Like that, there was a cess even under the earlier indirect tax laws. Under the service tax laws or under the excise duty also, there is a 3% or 4% cess was to be paid over and above the taxes. Yeah. Now all these taxes, these taxes were levied by the central government, got merged in the GST law. All taxes central government levy ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇತ್ತು, all these laws got merged in the GST law now. Getting a point? So these are all central taxes which was there, existed earlier, got merged in GST. Now coming to the state tax, ಏನೆಲ್ಲ state tax ಗಳಿದ್ದು earlier which got merged in the GST law? First, whenever there is a sale of a good, I told there is a levy of sales tax. If it is a local, VAT. If it is an interstate, it is a CST. Next, whenever there is an entertainment event, you would have seen this Dish TV or Tata Sky, isn't it? Or any entertainment event, even if you go to the cinema hall, in the ticket, if you know earlier, if you know old ticket is there, you can just go through that old ticket also. There was a tax collected in the name of entertainment tax. These taxes was levied by the local authority or by the state government. Entertainment and amusement tax. Amusement tax ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ this amusement parks ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ ಎಲ್ಲ ಇದೆ, isn't it? Amusement parks, GRS fantasy parks, isn't it? Those are called amusement theme parks, whatever name you call it as. On that there was a tax earlier prior to GST. Next, there was a luxury tax. What do you mean by luxury tax? If you go and stay in a 5-star hotel, or if you are buying some luxury, precious and diamonds and jewels, okay, there was a luxury tax was levied. There is a luxury tax was levied by the respective states. Not in all the states these laws were there. Few states were levying luxury tax. Ella state kuda tax collect ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ. Especially Karnataka was, in Karnataka there was a luxury tax. Tax on advertisement, if you are giving an advertisement, on that advertisement tax can be collected by the state government. Purchase tax was there, entry tax was there. What do you mean by entry tax? See, if you are purchasing any goods from outside the territory, outside the local territory, for example, if you are sitting in a Hubli ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ, Hubli locally ನೀವು goods purchase ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ entry tax ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ there was no entry tax. But if you are purchasing from a Maharashtra, let us assume Maharashtra ಇಂದ ಏನು goods purchase ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀರಾ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ, or if you are purchasing from even from Bangalore ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ, it was outside the local territory. Since it was outside the local territory, there was one more tax was getting levied called entry tax. Usually it is again 1 or 2% was levied only on the specified goods like plant and machinery or on the fuel. Adar mele matra entry tax was there, purchase tax. Again the same entry tax and octroi both are same. In some states it was called as entry tax, in other states it was called as octroi. Again you need to remember, entry tax or octroi or purchase tax or luxury tax or entertainment tax, whatever these taxes were there, was never allowed as an input tax credit. Idella cost ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇತ್ತು, was getting added to the cost, was never allowed as an input tax. credit to the assessee. Next, there was a tax on lottery, betting, and gambling. There was again over on and on these taxes, over and above the taxes, the assessee persons used to pay the cess as well as the surcharges. So all these levies are levied by the state government, which got subsumed under the GST. Getting the point? So now what is not subsumed? If you ask me what is not subsumed when compared to the earlier laws, as I told you just now, there is still a basic custom duty which is levied under the customs law. Customs law again is an indirect tax. Under the indirect tax customs law, there is a levy of custom duty. That is called basic custom duty. Whenever there is import of goods, that is still outside the ambit of GST. Yeah, ಅದನ್ನು ನೀವು pay ಮಾಡಲೇಬೇಕು. It is basically around on a general rate of custom duty is 10%. Now second, apart from that basic custom duty, there is still a tax on alcoholic liquor for human consumption. Alcoholic liquor for human consumption is outside the purview of GST. Liquor mele, there is a excise duty. See, you need to understand, this alcoholic liquor for human consumption is a state matter. Center cannot levy tax on this, isn't it? So on this liquor, state is this is the biggest revenue to the state. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ no state has given up alcoholic liquor for human consumption ಇಲ್ಲ GST ಪರ್ವ್ಯೂಗೆ ನಾವು ಕೊಡೋದಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ ಹೇಳಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಏನಕ್ಕೆ? Because this is the main source of income to the states, all the states. Now even in the lockdown also you would have seen, initially around 15 days or 1 month, there was a ban on liquor sale, isn't it? ಎಲ್ಲ ಎಸೆನ್ಷಿಯಲ್ ಆಕ್ಟಿವಿಟೀಸ್ಗಳನ್ನ ಓಪನ್ ಮಾಡೋಕ್ಕಿಂತ ಮೊದಲು ಲಿಕ್ಕರ್ ಸೇಲ್ನ ಇಮಿಡಿಯೇಟ್ಲಿ ಓಪನ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು. ವಾಟ್ ವಾಸ್ ದ ರೀಸನ್? ಬಿಕಾಸ್ revenue was not getting generated to the state. If there is no revenue, how can the government can fund or can spend, isn't it, to the various activities? Now the biggest revenue to the state is alcoholic liquor for sale of alcoholic liquor for human consumption. On that there is a excise duty, state excise duty, and then there is a sales tax which is collected by the respective states. Next, even the petroleum products are still outside the purview of GST. What are the petroleum products? You need to remember these 5 words, very very important. Petroleum crude, petroleum products includes petroleum crude. Then there is a motor spirit, is nothing but a petrol only, motor spirit. Then high speed diesel, HSD antanu kuda karitare, high speed diesel. Next, natural gas and aviation turbine fuel. So you need to differentiate between a natural gas and the your petroleum gas. Petroleum gas is different from the natural gas. On the petroleum gas, still there is a GST, it is within the purview of GST. What is outside the GST? Only natural gas is outside the GST. Natural gas and aviation turbine fuel, ATF. ATF, have you heard about this aviation turbine fuel? Have you heard about this word? Aviation turbine fuel. ಯಾವ ಪರ್ಪಸ್ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ ಇದನ್ನ? ATF ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ ಕೂಡ ಕರೀತಾರೆ. Not heard of ATF, aviation turbine fuel? ಹೇಳಿಲ್ವಾ? ಓನ್ಲಿ ಫ್ಲೈಟ್ಸ್ ನೋಡಿದ್ದೀರಾ? ಫ್ಲೈಟ್ಸ್, ಏರೋಪ್ಲೇನ್. ಹೌದಾ, ಏರೋಪ್ಲೇನ್ ವಿಲ್ ರನ್. ಏರೋಪ್ಲೇನ್, ಹೌದಾ, ಏರೋಪ್ಲೇನ್ ವಿಲ್ ರನ್. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಡೀಸೆಲ್ ಪೆಟ್ರೋಲ್ ಹಾಕ್ತಾರಾ? This ATF is a fuel used for operating a air flights. Is the point? So air flights ಗೆ fuel ಯಾವ್ದು ಹಾಕ್ತಾರೆ? ATF ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ ಕರೀತಾರೆ, air turbine fuel ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ. It is again the rate is slightly higher than the normal fuel cost. Okay, this is a first ನೀವು crude oil ಫಸ್ಟ್ ರಿಫೈನ್ ಮಾಡಿದ ನಂತರ ಬರುವಂತ at the end what you will get, ATF you will get the purified version of the fuel. Basically first time crude oil ಬಂದಾಗ once you purify it, first round purifier ನಂತರ what you will get? You will get a kerosene. The second round of purification, after second round of purification, you will get a diesel. Diesel ಆದ ನಂತರ you will get a petrol. Petrol ಆದ ನಂತರ you will get the pure one more fuel, that fuel is called ATF. Next, even the electricity is also outside the purview of GST. That's why if you see electricity bill em barutte nim manege, adra mele just take out that electricity bill and once again you see there is nowhere it is mentioned GST anta ellu kuda mention agilla. But alli tax ondide, one tax mention ಆಗಿರುತ್ತೆ, but the tax is not a GST. The tax is a state electricity taxes collected by the respective state government. Electricity act alli there is one more tax which was levied. Aa tax na collect ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇರುವಂತದ್ದು. That is not a GST. Getting the point? Now, these are all the goods. Next, taxes not subsumed. The basic custom duty, stamp duty paid under the Stamps Act, respective state taxes. The stamp paper ನೀವು ಪರ್ಚೇಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಿರಲ್ವಾ, ಸ್ಟಾಂಪ್ ಪೇಪರ್ ಪರ್ಚೇಸ್ ಮಾಡುವಾಗ 100 ರೂಪಾಯಿ ಅವ್ರು ಕೇಳ್ತಾರೆ ಎಷ್ಟು ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂದು ಸ್ಟಾಂಪ್ ಪೇಪರ್ ನಿಮಗೆ ಕೊಡಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ. Have you seen in the stamp paper? Hopefully you would have seen the stamp papers. ಅದ್ರ ಮೇಲ್ಗಡೆ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂ ಕೂಡ ಮೆನ್ಷನ್ ಆಗಿರುತ್ತೆ, 100 ರೂಪಿ, 1000 ರೂಪಿ, 2000 ರೂಪಿ, 10,000 ರೂಪಿ, 5,000 ರೂಪಿ, isn't it? What is that? What do you mean by that? For example, if you want to purchase 100 rupees stamp paper ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ, ಸ್ಟಾಂಪ್ ಪೇಪರ್ ಯಾರು ಇಶ್ಯೂ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ is not going to collect only 100 rupees, he is going to collect 100 plus 10 ಸರ್ವಿಸ್ ಚಾರ್ಜ್ ರೂಪಿ 10 rupees ಕೊಡಿ ಸರ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. 100 rupees ಏನು ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದು? 100 rupees you have paid towards the stamp duty to a state government, Karnataka state government or respective state government, isn't it? That means this stamp duty usually is applicable on various transactions. One of the main transaction the stamp duty is applicable is immovable property transaction. Immovable property transaction ಏನೇ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ stamp duty pay ಮಾಡಲೇಬೇಕು. It may be purchase or it may be lease or it may be renting, yeah, or any contract you are entering. If you are entering it and legally if you are entering, then you need to buy a stamp paper and do the agreement, and you need to pay a stamp duty. This stamp duty is still outside the purview of GST. So what are the items which are outside the purview of GST? First one, goods. So items, what are the items? First, alcoholic liquor for human consumption first, then petroleum products, 5 petroleum products. What are the 5 petroleum products? The first one, petroleum crude. Second, diesel. Third, natural gas. Fourth, ATF, aviation, turbine fuel. Then fifth one is a motor spirit or a petrol itself. Then apart from that, there is the electricity. Again, it is the outside purview of GST. Next, taxes not subsumed. Other than that, basic custom duty and stamp duty are not subsumed. And also property tax also not subsumed. Next, old tax structure, we just now discussed all these things. What was the drawback under the old tax structure? There was a multiplicity of taxes or double taxation on the same transaction. Cascading effect was there. Cascading effect in the sense that there is a tax was there. Next, there is a complex and a different tax laws for each state. As I told, there's various state laws was there. If you take, observe here, these are all the state laws. State laws anta helidre, the law relating to these matters were enacted by the respective states. Each of the state, for example, if you go to Tamil Nadu, the Tamil Nadu VAT Act was totally different from the Karnataka VAT Act. If you go to Madhya Pradesh VAT Act was totally different from the Karnataka VAT laws. So like that, if we had a 29 states, 29 different VAT laws was there, containing different kinds of provisions. And 29 entertainment tax was there. The entertainment tax was there. Entry tax again is state matters. Few states had entry tax, a few states didn't have entry tax itself, isn't it? So there was a different and complex laws in each of the states. Different types of exemptions. This is again another drawback. Different types of exemptions. For example, especially in the northeast, or you forget about northeast. Even in case of a Karnataka also, you take an example. In order to attract the investors na attract ಮಾಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ Karnataka government used to give an exemption from the state taxes. because Karnataka government kayali earlier ಏನಿತ್ತು major this one levy state VAT, isn't it? State VAT Karnataka government power Karnataka government ಹತ್ರನೇ ಇತ್ತು. They can levy the tax or they can completely exempt the taxes for a particular goods. In order to attract the investors, what these states used to do, they used to give various exemptions to the particular industry. Industry exemption ಕೊಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ರು, or they used to give a exemption on particular goods itself. For example, in Karnataka, because of in order to attract all these what do you call if there's a BJP government, assume if there's a BJP government, the government whenever it comes to the power, they used to exempt all the taxes, all the state taxes from the puja items, maybe incense sticks or whatever, on the flower or on the vibhuti or on the this what do you call, what on the item you take it for a puja, on all the puja items there was a exemption. Whenever this other party, Congress party, comes into a power, they used to give an exemption to the from the VAT. These Muslims, whatever they give offerings, no, bed sheets or the topi, whatever they wear, so on all those items they used to give a exemption. So like that, there was a tinkering with the laws. Not only that, when this Toyota company came to India, why did they came to Karnataka only? Karnataka tumba ಒಳ್ಳೆ states, so they got a very less cheap labor and all, and also Bangalore, very nice weather, that's why they came to Bangalore, Toyota. No, whenever there is an industry is coming to India, they will have an option to choose which state, isn't it? They can choose whatever be the states. Tamil Nadu go bodu, Karnataka go bodu, Maharashtra go bodu, isn't it? Why they specifically came to Karnataka only? Because they made a certain arrangement, they gave certain benefit to those industries. It may be in the concession of the labor laws irbodu, or it may be concession in the value of the land irbodu. The main advantage what the company got is in the by way of a VAT concession. You initially when you establish a industry here, if you are going to establish an industry in Karnataka, 10 years you VAT collect ಮಾಡಿ, you collect the VAT on the sale of a motor car, but you don't pay it to the state government, isn't it? After 10 years, whatever you have collected over the period of 10 years, that you pay it in installment. That was the benefit given to the particular company in order to attract that company to establish a unit in the state of Karnataka. Getting the point? Because of that, what the government is getting, the government is going to generate employment. And after 10 years, the government is getting revenue also, isn't it? Now, initial for the period, in order to set up, the government is going to give a support. So like that, there was a various exemptions available, which was given by the state governments. So in turn, if you are giving a, let's say Kannada government iತರ exemption ಕೊಡ್ತಾ ಇತ್ತು, and if you go to Gujarat, ಅಲ್ಲಿ different kinds of exemptions were there. ಅಲ್ಲಿ land free of cost ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಕೊಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ರು. ಇಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಅಲ್ಲಿ completely a particular goods ಮೇಲೆ VAT itself, sales tax itself was exempt. So like the differential exemption ಇದ್ದಾಗ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, there will not be any uniformity in the laws. Choose ಮಾಡುವಾಗ on what basis the decision was taken to establish or not to establish in a particular area, ಎಲ್ಲಿ ನನಗೆ tax benefit ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಸಿಗುತ್ತೆ, isn't it? On that criteria, earlier industry was getting established. There was a differential treatment of a taxes. So those are all the deficiencies. We'll quickly run see what are the deficiencies in pre-GST tax structure. One was variable rates of excise duties such as 2%, 10%, 18%, 24%, 27%, etc. coupled with the multiple valuation system and various exemptions. As I told, multiple valuation system. There was a multiple valuation system. Excise duty levy ಮಾಡಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಒಂದು ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂ ತಗೊಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ವಿ, VAT levy VAT ನ ಕ್ಯಾಲ್ಕುಲೇಟ್ ಮಾಡಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂ ತಗೊಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ವಿ. Same value we used to never used to consider for calculating the taxes. Next, VAT differs from a state to state. So Karnatakadalli VAT law ಇದ್ದು ತಮಿಳುನಾಡಲ್ಲಿ ಸೇಮ್ ಇರ್ತಿರ್ಲಿಲ್ಲ. So like that, from each state there is a different VAT laws, there is a different rate of taxes under the respective sales tax act. There was a different kinds of exemptions. For example, if you take a pen, marker pen, if it is a taxable in Karnataka, if you go to Tamil Nadu, it was exempt. Like that, there was various goods. Next, in VAT, there is a lack of uniformity in terms of a registration, payment of tax, and a return filing, assessment procedure, etc. Obviously, whenever there is a difference in the laws in different states, again the differences arises because of a registration procedures irbodu, payment of tax. ಇಲ್ಲಿ for example, every month payment ಇತ್ತು ಕರ್ನಾಟಕದಲ್ಲಿ. If you go to Maharashtra or in Tamil Nadu, there was an option for payment of quarterly basis also. And return filing, again ಇಲ್ಲಿ every month return file ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾಯಿತು. If you go to next neighboring states, they had a law stating that quarterly you file the return. That's it. There was a requirement for audit every year. ಇಲ್ಲಿ VAT audit ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ conduct ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ರು, but in some states there was no concept of VAT audit, isn't it? So there was no uniformity. Next, so a business establishing offices in different states were required to follow laws of respective states. For example, you assume a person, ಯಾರಾದ್ರೂ ಒಬ್ಬ ಫಾರಿನ್ ಕಂಟ್ರಿಯಿಂದ ಇನ್ವೆಸ್ಟರ್ ಬರ್ತಿದ್ದಾನೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ, ಅವನು ಆಲ್ ಓವರ್ ಇಂಡಿಯಾದಲ್ಲಿ, ಲೆಟ್ಸ್ ಅಸ್ಯೂಮ್ ಇಫ್ ಯು ವಾಂಟ್ಸ್ ಟು ಎಸ್ಟಾಬ್ಲಿಷ್ ಬಿಸ್ನೆಸ್ ಇನ್ 10 ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ಸ್, ಇಂಡಿಯಾದಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು 10 ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಬಿಸ್ನೆಸ್ ಎಸ್ಟಾಬ್ಲಿಷ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಈ ಯೂನಿಟ್ಸ್ ನ, you should be aware about the 10 states, 10 different laws. Not only 10 different laws. I just taken sales tax 10 different laws. It may be including other laws. It may be 10 into, let's say on an average in each state 3 laws and 30 laws. You should be aware about the 30 indirect tax laws itself. Indirect tax laws, 30 indirect tax laws you should have been aware. That was creating a complication to the investors. SENVAT paid was not available as adjustable against the VAT paid. We already discussed. Multiplicity of duties, complicated tax structures. Apart from the excise duty and VAT, there were surcharges, there was cess, there were NCCD, that is National Calamity Contingency Duty, again which was levied on the motor vehicle, especially motor vehicles mele idna duty levied ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ರು, NCCD ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ. There was the additional duty on tobacco products, isn't it? Next, so state VAT was payable on the value of the goods inclusive of SENVAT. We already seen it was causing a cascading effect, and VAT dealers were never able to set off the taxes whatever they were paid, whether it was service tax or the SENVAT, that is central excise duty, were never able to set